I have been moving toward you so quietly that no one heard my footsteps, because losing you is not something I am willing to risk. There are feelings that never learned how to speak loudly. They never demanded attention, never fought for the spotlight, and never announced their arrival with dramatic words. Instead, they chose silence. They chose patience. They chose to remain hidden beneath ordinary conversations, casual smiles, and moments that seemed insignificant to everyone else. And that is exactly how I have been loving you, not with noise, not with pressure, not with endless promises spoken only to impress you, but with quiet determination, with small steps, with careful movements. With a heart that understood one simple truth: losing you is not something I am willing to risk. You may not have noticed it. You may have believed I was distant. You may have wondered why I never rushed toward you the way others do. But while the world was running in circles trying to be seen, I was learning every detail about what makes your soul feel safe. I noticed the moments when your smile carried hidden sadness. I noticed how you pretend to be strong even when exhaustion fills every part of you. I noticed how you laugh a little louder when you are trying not to cry. I noticed the way your eyes search for reassurance even when your lips insist that everything is fine. People often think love is measured by grand gestures, flowers, expensive gifts, endless messages, public declarations, but real devotion is much quieter. It lives inside consistency, it survives through distance, it remains present even when no one is watching, and that is where I have stayed, present, watching, learning, growing, waiting. I never wanted to become another temporary chapter in your life. I never wanted to arrive quickly and disappear just as fast. Too many people enter someone's heart only to leave scars behind. Too many promises are spoken carelessly. Too many souls become comfortable with walking away. I refuse to become one of them, so instead of rushing, I prepared myself. I worked on becoming someone worthy of standing beside you. I learned patience because I knew your heart deserved patience. I learned understanding because your spirit deserved understanding. I learned loyalty because your past had already introduced you to enough disappointments. You may think my silence meant indifference, but silence can hide oceans. Silence can protect emotions too precious to expose before the right moment arrives. Every day I carried thoughts of you. Every day I imagined conversations we had never spoken. Every day I wondered if you could somehow feel the invisible thread connecting us. Because even when we were apart, even when circumstances built walls between us, my heart continued walking toward yours, slowly, carefully, quietly, like someone crossing fragile ice, afraid that one wrong movement might cause everything to break. People ask why someone would move so cautiously toward love. The answer is simple. When something becomes truly valuable, you stop treating it carelessly. No one throws diamonds into the ocean. No one abandons treasure in the middle of a storm. And no one willingly risks losing the person who feels like home. You became that kind of person, the kind who changed ordinary days into meaningful memories, the kind who could calm storms without even realizing it, the kind who made absence feel heavier than presence. I know life has taught you to doubt beautiful things. Perhaps people left when they promised they would stay. Perhaps someone convinced you that affection always comes with conditions. Perhaps you learned to build walls so high that even kindness struggles to climb them. I understand. I understand more than you know. That is why I never forced my way inside. I never demanded access to places you were still trying to heal. I simply remained nearby, waiting, showing up, proving that not everyone disappears, proving that some people choose commitment even before receiving certainty in return. There were nights when I almost spoke, nights when I almost confessed everything. Nights when my heart screamed your name while my mind begged me to remain patient, because love is not only about expressing emotions, love is also about timing, about knowing when someone's soul is ready to receive what you have been carrying for so long, and I feared speaking too soon, not because my feelings were weak, but because they were powerful, powerful enough to change everything, powerful enough to create expectations, powerful enough to frighten someone who is still learning how to trust again. So I kept moving, step by step, moment by moment, closer than yesterday, closer than last month, closer than the version of me who once believed love was simply about being chosen. Now I understand, love is choosing, choosing someone repeatedly, choosing them during misunderstandings, choosing them during silence, choosing them when distance creates uncertainty, choosing them when fear whispers that giving up would be easier, and I chose you, long before you knew, long before anyone suspected, long before circumstances allowed us to become what we secretly hoped for. You may ask what kept me going. What made me continue walking towards someone who might never notice? The answer is hope. Hope is a strange thing. It survives impossible situations. It breathes inside unanswered questions. It remains alive even when logic advises surrender. Hope told me that one day you would recognize my footsteps. Not because they were loud, but because they never stopped approaching. Hope reminded me that meaningful connections are rarely created overnight. They grow, they develop, they strengthen through seasons of uncertainty, and I was willing to endure uncertainty if it meant protecting the possibility of us. Sometimes I imagined what would happen if I suddenly disappeared. Would you feel the difference? Would you miss the messages, the concern, the consistency, the quiet support, or would life continue exactly the same? Those thoughts hurt, but they never convinced me to leave, because genuine care does not depend entirely on recognition. Sometimes loving someone means continuing to care even when applause never arrives. Sometimes devotion means planting seeds in a garden you may never see bloom. Still, I believed that hearts eventually recognize sincerity. I believed that souls can sense intentions hidden behind actions. I believed that one day you would look back and realize someone had been standing nearby all along, not demanding attention, not competing with others, not creating drama, simply waiting. Waiting because your happiness mattered more than my impatience, waiting because your comfort mattered more than my desire for immediate answers, waiting because losing you would hurt far more than waiting for the right moment. There were opportunities to walk away. There were moments when pride encouraged me to protect myself. Moments when fear suggested that perhaps I was investing too much into something uncertain, but every attempt to leave felt wrong, every imagined goodbye felt incomplete, Every distance I created only reminded me how deeply you had become part of my thoughts, so I returned, again and again, not out of weakness, but because some connections refuse to disappear. Some people leave fingerprints on your spirit. They become part of your everyday existence. You hear a song and think of them. You see a sunset and wonder whether they are watching the same sky. You accomplish something wonderful and immediately wish they were the first person to know. That is what happened to me. You became present in places you had never visited. You occupied spaces inside my mind without asking permission. You transformed ordinary moments into reminders that someone extraordinary existed somewhere nearby. And still I remained quiet, because I understood something important. Love should never feel like pressure. It should feel like warmth, like arriving home after years of wandering. Like finding shelter during heavy rain, like discovering peace after endless battles. That is what I hope to become for you, a safe place, a steady presence, a reason to believe that not every story ends with heartbreak. I wanted to become someone who listens carefully, someone who remembers little details. Someone who celebrates your victories and stays beside you during failures. Someone who understands your silence without demanding explanations. Someone who protects your dreams as if they were his own. Someone who remains, because remaining has become rare. People leave over misunderstandings. People disappear when situations become inconvenient. People replace loyalty with temporary excitement. But I wanted something different. I wanted permanence. I wanted to build memories that survive difficult seasons. I wanted conversations that continue for years. I wanted laughter that grows louder with time. I wanted trust that cannot be shaken by rumors, distance, or misunderstandings. And I wanted all of that with you, not because you are perfect, no one is, but because your imperfections feel human, they feel real. They remind me that beneath your strength exists someone who also needs reassurance, someone who also fears abandonment, someone who also wonders whether they are enough. You are enough, more than enough. You have always been enough, even on days when sadness steals your confidence. Even on days when mistakes make you question your worth.